What is going on, everybody? I want to talk to you about Warhammer 40k Apocalypse. We've all seen the video of another redhead, not me, the Redbeard YouTuber, but some lady talking about the Warhammer Apocalypse rules, and it looks pretty interesting. This is going to be a pretty big release from Games Workshop, I think. They're hoping it'll be their next home run, like a kill team. I'm personally hoping that Warcry will be a great game, but we're not here to talk about Warcry. We're here to talk about Apocalypse. So, what are you guys thinking about Apocalypse? My thoughts are, first of all, I don't really like very many Forge World models. I don't own really any of them. I think they look good by the standards of old GW models, but pretty lackluster compared to the new GW models, minus a few vehicles that do look pretty nice. So I don't own any Warhounds, or a lot of the Titans look terrible. The Warhound, and what's the other one? The one that's kind of he's got really big shins and a really derpy face. I don't know. I can't even remember. It's not a Warlord. Warhound. I think it's Reaver, maybe. I don't know. Terrible looking. And they're really expensive, and I don't own any of them. So I do own quite a few Imperial Knights, which I guess could find, a nice use in Warhammer Apocalypse. I own some Greater Demons. I own Magnus that I just picked up this weekend. And that's about it. Besides that, I do have, like, in my AdMech army, plenty of Dune Crawlers and robots and Chicken Walkers and vehicles and things. And there's new tanks coming out for them. Space Marines, I own 2 repulsors. So based on my collection, nothing about Apocalypse appeals to me there. I'm not missing out. I don't have any, units or models that I really wish I could play with, but I can't play a big enough game because of points or whatever. But I just don't own most models. I own big armies, 3, 4, 5,000 points sometimes. But as far as big individual models, I don't care. I only own 2 knights, maybe 3, 2 built and painted, and 1 Valiant still in the box. So he's not even opened since then. I got him the weekend he came out. So it's not like I'm in any rush to play with those guys. They're the preview, though, the rules are pretty interesting. There's some back and forth with D6s and D12s. Sometimes even at the point where you're rolling to hit with D6s and rolling to wound with D12s. I don't know how. I'm sure once you play a while or play a few games, you'll get the hang of it, but that sounds a little clunky to me. Just in first impression. If I roll 8 hits on D6s, I can't just then pick up those 8 dice and roll them again. I have to grab 8 D12s. So that's just an interesting thing. I think it's a little clunky, but adding a D12 into it does add for a lot more variables, I guess, which is pretty nice. Weapons can feel more or less powerful when there's a broader range of results on the die. Like if you needed a 2+ on a D12, all of a sudden, that gun is, super powerful, obviously. So that'll be interesting to see. Another element that's not super appealing to me is the card element. I do play Necromunda and Blood Bowl, and I do buy the cards and whatnot for them, but I don't play Shadespire because all of a sudden you're supposed to buy everybody's cards and mix and match them to build a deck. I hate deck building. I have no interest in Magic. Side note, when somebody compares Warhammer to Magic, it doesn't, like it, I don't know, I don't get it at all. It's not my thing, right? Deck building, I don't think my brain comprehends maybe how to build a cool deck of cards or something. I'm not sure. But the cards are interesting. The box set comes with 300 cards. So basically, the whole price of the game is those 300 cards in the rulebook. But mostly those 300 cards, I imagine, because I'm thinking the rules are, generally GW rulebooks are very nice and there's tons of fluff and pictures and this and that, but the actual rules pages are, less than 30 or whatever. So you're basically paying for 300 cards, and I'm not necessarily worried about price, but value of if I'm actually going to be playing the game or on any kind of regular basis, which is probably not, I won't be picking up the game. Although I will for sure try out the game with some friends who happen to pick up the set. I do have one friend who owns a whole bunch of big Titans and all Bane Blades and all kinds of stuff like that. And so I'm sure he'll pick up the game, and I'd be happy to play it with him. And I'm sure, hopefully it's fun. But the card element's kind of interesting to kind of streamline the big battles. The cards are going to provide you with your, say, stratagems. As far as I know, they're going to provide you with your psychic powers. So basically, a psychic power is going to be more like a stratagem. So if you have Magnus out on the battlefield, he might have access to, some kind of cards. Or another possibility is the cards will say, use this card to put a blast. If you have a Psyker, put a blast marker on an enemy or whatever. But if it's like a Magnus Psyker, put a large blast marker on them to, demonstrate his power or whatever on the battlefield. Or, this is a likely scenario, they will release faction card boxes like they do in Necromunda and Blood Bowl, where you will pay to add more cards for your specific faction into your deck. And if it's like Necromunda, those card decks also include some universal cards that you can mix and match with other teams, and there starts to become like a deck building element. In Necromunda, we happen to have a player who had all the cards, so we just shuffled them all together and used those. And if we didn't, if that player wasn't there that weekend, we would just use our own respective deck, basically, or mix them with the starter set cards and shuffle them randomly. So it'll be interesting to see how this card thing plays out. I think it's a big money maker, selling the cards, because they charge you a lot for them. One of the big disappointments with Blood Bowl is the price of the cards. I mean, I wouldn't mind having all the little special play cards just for me and my opponent to choose from, just for the fun factor and randomness of it. But when you're charging like $25 for a deck of cards and only about 6 of them are usable by the game, if you're not that team, most of them are just like blank or player, they're just blank cards, but the price that they're like super valuable, which is unfortunate. So it's kind of easy to avoid wanting to get the whole collection of Blood Bowl products. And I think it'll be easy to avoid getting the whole collection of Apocalypse cards. Although they will add an element of randomness and fun on top of the dice, and it'll be interesting. I haven't seen a ton on what they do or don't do, but as far as I can tell, they're like special plays, stratagems, psychic powers, things like that. The game does accommodate littler models or small models like Space Marine squads and tac squads and Hormagaunts and Termagants and all those things, as far as I can tell. But like a unit of 5 Space Marines only has 2 wounds. A unit of 10 Necrons has 2 wounds or 3 wounds or whatever it is. So you only have to do, say, 2 wounds to them in this game to remove the whole squad. I think that's a very interesting way to move models off the board. I think it's probably better to not take a whole bunch of those, because just the amount of setup and removal of all those models is probably not worth your time. You probably do want to lean heavier into the tanks and titans and dreadnoughts and things of that nature. That's just my initial guess on that. I don't think it'll be very cool or unique or fun. It might be unique, but I don't think it'll be very cool or fun to say have an all infantry apocalypse army, unless of course there's some specific infantry unit that punches way above its weight class, and then people will do just that in events. But for the most part, I think it's probably going to want to avoid too many infantry, but it will look cool on the battlefield. The game's definitely going to look cool. Looks like there's quite a bit of little tokens and things that you're going to be playing with. Kind of cool. I don't know. Tokens are kind of fun. You won't be, I guess, this is all coming from somebody who hasn't played yet, of course, and there is only limited information available, and this is new, right? It's a new game, so it's hard to like picture myself in their shoes, for example, playing the game. So I think once you do get some games under your belt, you will have, you know, it'll flow. I think it'll flow good. But in the beginning, I think it was going to be quite a bit clunky with all the little tokens and putting out your little orders and this and that. And that's probably true for all war games. So for me, the Apocalypse game coming out is a hard pass. Not interested at all in purchasing. 100% will play with friends who happen to purchase it and want to try it out. So I am a supporter of, trying it out and having fun. And let me know below what you're thinking on Apocalypse, if you're excited about it. I know some people go crazy for like Forge World models and big titans and huge tanks and flyers. So this game might be perfect for you, and you're probably going to get a community of people. Like, I could see it getting, like, the way, if you've ever been to Adepticon, the 30K room is booming. Like, people got their hobby going. They got big knights and titans and all kinds of crazy stuff from Forge World, and it's booming. So I could definitely see the Apocalypse game having quite a nice community of people that really want to show off some big, nice models. Assuming the rules are good, I think people will be very happy to play it for quite a few years to come. And hopefully it gets some of the attention that like Age of Sigmar and 40K get, where if it isn't correct, they correct it. Or if something seems a little off, they maybe adjust things or tweak points or whatever, however they're going to do it. Hopefully it's supported. Let me know below, what do you think of Warhammer 40K Apocalypse? Please comment and subscribe if you want. Like my video. We got a Patreon, we got an eBay store, we got Amazon links, we got the products I use. We're selling paintbrushes. And by we, I mean me. I'm just one person. But talk to you guys soon. I got some more videos coming up.